Live from News Channel 8, your News at 10 starts now.
An effort to improve troubled bridges is one step closer to reality. Thanks for joining us here at 10. I'm John Hayes. It comes as ODOT has approved a multi-million-dollar project for hundreds of bridges across Oklahoma. News Channel 8's Ryan Stockett is here with us now. And Ryan, if all goes as planned, ODOT says this will help struggling counties.
Yeah, ODOT says the repairs are happening with funds courtesy of the federal government.
Of the 1,700 off-system bridges that are SD, 600 of the SD bridges had a form scour as one of the bridge deficiencies.
Matt Mitchell with ODOT says that after completing field assessments at each of the 600 structurally deficient bridges, they determined that 428 of those bridges qualified for the scour mitigation program.
428 of these SD bridges could be repaired with heavy maintenance that counties and cities could not otherwise perform on their own and remove them from the SD category.
Mitchell says that the scour mitigation program is a part of the bridge formula program, using a portion of the $28 million per year allocated for addressing off-system bridge needs.
The estimated cost to repair the 428 off-system bridges is $13,723,881.50.
He says this program is 100% funded by federal money.
100% funding is going to this, that the counties or municipalities don't have to actually use their own forces or own money to participate.
Mitchell says that of the 428 bridges, 92 are here in the Tulsa area.
9 of those were city-owned, so the majority of them really are in the counties where they needed the most help.
Last week's ODOT Commission meeting agenda also had a breakdown showing the number of bridges they're working on in each ODOT district and the estimated repair costs.
Just over $3 million in repairs for the northeastern part of the state.
Mitchell says they're ensuring there won't be any adverse effects as they work on these locations. Then they hope to start repairs on the bridges in northeastern Oklahoma in March. Live at the Update Center, Ryan Stockett, News Channel 8.
Ryan, thank you. And a heads up for your Monday commute. Part of U.S. Highway 75 will be narrowed to one lane during one of the busiest parts of the day. This will be the northbound direction between I-44 and 41st Street. The lane closure will last from 9 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This is so road crews can repair a guardrail. A plane crash down the turnpike claims a life. It happened in Oklahoma City this morning. Grant Palmer has a look at the aftermath and the latest from authorities about what we know so far.
And it was on fire. It was fully engulfed in flames when our crews arrived on scene. So the entire aircraft was fully engulfed when we arrived on scene.
David Shearer says a small single-engine aircraft crashed near the Wiley Post Airport in Oklahoma City Sunday morning, killing one of the 2 people on board.
Bystanders that witnessed the accident were trying to rescue them as well, but the heat was keeping them from being able to get to them.
Shearer says the fire department received a call at 10:20 a.m. and got to the scene not too long after. He says they believe the person who died was the passenger. He adds the plane had taken off from the airport sometime prior and were returning back to the airport when the crash happened.
They were able to get the one person away, and when our crews arrived on scene, they began treating him. He was transported to Baptist Hospital in critical condition. The other person unfortunately passed on and was pronounced dead on scene.
Tragic. That was again Grant Palmer reporting. Shearer says the cause of the crash is unclear at this time and that the National Transportation Safety Board will be investigating.
From the Oklahoma Ford Storm Center, your first warning forecast, certified as Tulsa's most accurate weather.
The weather was pretty chilly this week, and if you think back to Thursday and Friday, we had back-to-back days with temperatures in the 70s for highs, and Friday was actually a record high temperature for the day. We hit 73. Now this weekend, it was pretty chilly, below normal this morning and this afternoon as well. 26 is the official low at the airport. 50 degrees is that official high. And while this is not a record low, which is 3 set back in 1917, it was still below normal by about 6 degrees. Now tomorrow going to be a little bit warmer than what we saw today. It's going to be cold in the morning. Not going to be as cold as what we saw this morning, but we are going to fall into the lower 30s here in Tulsa. We're going to see those highs climb into the mid to upper 50s, though, by tomorrow afternoon. We're going to hold on to the mild temperatures. It's not going to be warm, but above normal, not only tomorrow, but really for the majority of the week. We are going to see an increase in the cloud cover, though, as well as a storm system starts to develop over the Four Corners states. Could this bring some rain to our area? I'll let you know coming up here later on in the show.
Chris, thank you. Well, insanity. It's how Oklahoma Congressman Josh Burkeen is describing now paused efforts to avoid a government shutdown in the new year. Here's more on what he says a priority should be and why he's not backing down.
We are headed towards a train wreck.
Oklahoma Congressman Josh Burkeen is digging in his heels when it comes to what he believes will happen if a plan to keep the government from shutting down isn't thorough.
We pay for this stuff. It's always been, well, let's just, dole out more resources. And so many people have stopped asking the question, what do we cut to pay for this?
Burkeen addressing stalled spending on the Israel-Hamas war overseas. It's part of a funding battle, also including funding for Ukraine and the border that Democrats and Republicans have been at odds over heading into the holiday break. Republicans like Burkeen want steep spending cuts and policy changes before a deal can be reached.
It's insanity up here, because people won't make the hard choices.
Leaving an ugly stalemate and two deadlines in January and February to deal with.
We've got to secure this border. That border is national security for us. Economic security, getting our fiscal house in order, is national security for us.
The House Freedom Caucus, which Burkeen is a member of, shared this press release Friday, saying in part, quote, the appropriations top line level must significantly reduce total programmatic spending year over year without side deals, gimmicks, or any other mechanism designed to hide the true number. The members of the House Freedom Caucus are prepared to use all available leverage to change the status quo. We will not simply vote no on bad legislation and go home for Christmas.
We don't get serious about this, and everybody up here just remains actors on a stage performing to get reelected, then we will miss the mandate of the Constitution that says to preserve the blessing of liberty for ourselves and our posterity.
Congress left for holiday break Friday and won't return until January 9th. That's just days before the first January 19th deadline. Israel says it is prepared to drag out its war in Gaza for months in order to defeat Hamas. It comes as Israeli forces continue to pound Gaza Sunday, with the military saying it had struck more than 250 targets in the past 24 hours. That includes near Gaza's southernmost city of Khan Younis, where Palestinians fleeing the war have taken shelter. They're now being told to evacuate to so-called deconfliction zones near Egypt or the coast. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says Israel has the intentions of protecting civilians, but he has yet to see that on the ground.
We think there needs to be a premium put on protecting civilians and making sure that humanitarian assistance can get to everyone who needs it. And as I said, I think the intent is there, but the results are not always manifesting themselves. And we see that both in terms of civilian protection and humanitarian assistance.
According to United Nations, about 90% of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced with the besieged territory and more than 17,000 killed. Christmas is a holiday on a lot of folks' minds this month, but it isn't the only one. Oklahomans are celebrating this season. We'll take you down to the Turnpike to explain. Just a little bit later. But first, a deadly aftermath as Mother Nature makes its mark in Tennessee. The latest on the death toll as crews search for survivors.
Plus, our weather's quiet here across green country, but I'm keeping an eye on a storm system that's moving toward the Pacific Northwest. This could impact parts of the Sooner State. Details on what that means for you coming up.
And being prepared to protect yourself is an unfortunate reality these days. Julie Moran is here with a handy tool she insists her daughters carry at all times. Tonight's America's News.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
It is so unfortunate that 1 in 3 women will be assaulted in their lifetime, and that is a very scary statistic. And that's why I love Bling Sting, because you can feel safe and look fashionable all at the same time. And I insist that both my daughters carry this pepper spray because it's maximum strength, and it has a 12-foot direct range. It also has a UV marking device that stains the target for up to 48 hours, which is really helpful for police to identify the attacker. That is really, really unique. And all it takes is one quick spray in the assailant's face to make them stop. It's also portable and it's easy to conceal, which I just did if you don't want anybody to see it. And they come in all these bright colors. They got camo too, so many patterns that you can pick your style and you can clip it anywhere. Like you can clip it to your backpack, you can belt loop, purse, wherever. And you know, this product gives me peace of mind knowing I'm protecting my daughters and myself. And right now, this is really, really great. We are offering 25% off the Bling Sting pepper spray. So head to asadeals.com for this exclusive offer. They're gonna go fast, so you wanna get this right away.
Welcome back. Search and rescue efforts are underway in Tennessee after tornadoes ripped through the state Saturday, killing at least 6 people and injuring dozens more.
So the next thing I know, all you hear is stuff started flying, glass was breaking, and it seemed like it lasted forever, but it was probably maybe 30 seconds.
3 people died, including a child, when a tornado struck Montgomery County in the northern part of the state, and another 3 were confirmed dead in Madison, just north of Nashville. As of Sunday afternoon, there were more than 35,000 reported power outages across the state. Utility crews are working to restore power, but the Nashville Electric Service warns that outages will continue throughout the week. At least 26 different deadly tornadoes have hit the United States so far in 2023. That's the most seen in a single year since 2011, when more than 550 people died in more than 50 deadly tornadoes. This year, tornadoes have killed 82 people so far, including a number of tornadoes Saturday, which is above the average over the past 30 years of 71. Tornadoes have killed people in 12 different states this year, with Mississippi seeing the most fatalities at 24.
From the Oklahoma Ford Storm Center, your first warning forecast, certified as Tulsa's most accurate weather.
That storm system that triggered the tornado in North Nashville now working its way toward the East Coast, and you can see that there is a widespread area of not only rain and thunderstorms, but even some snow on the back side of that. So this is extending from parts of New England down into the mid-Atlantic and even the Carolinas, seeing the showers and storms. And notice on the back end of that, pulling in some cold air, where there's actually some snow working its way in towards parts of the Appalachian Mountains. And focused out west, our next weather maker for parts of the Sooner State, working its way a little bit closer to the Pacific Northwest from the northeastern Pacific. And this is going to eventually bring some impacts to our weather as it starts to work its way off toward the south and east over the next 48 hours, moving towards the Four Corners states by the middle of the upcoming work week. So this is Wednesday afternoon, this upcoming Wednesday. Notice that area of low pressure starts to intensify over the Four Corners states, and that's going to start to pull in quite a bit of moisture into parts of the Sooner State and the Lone Star State by Wednesday afternoon. We're going to stay dry here, though, in Green Country Wednesday. We will notice an uptick in that cloud cover, but notice to the west of I-35, already starting to see some rain for western parts of Oklahoma into the Panhandle as well as Texas Panhandle. And this system is going to be pretty slow moving, and it's going to have more of a southerly movement, so it's not going to overspread precipitation into our part of the state. But notice, still seeing some of that rain for western parts of Oklahoma and western Texas, also seeing some of that rain. Snow for the higher elevation as you work your way into parts of New Mexico, and it's possible a little bit of a wintry mixture possible for parts of the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles. And this system looking like it's going to move across the Lone Star State as we move into Friday. Notice how that keeps a lot of that precipitation south of the Red River, so a lot of it looks to be focused south of the Red River and west of I-35. Now, I do want to point out some guidance has shifted this low farther north. That's something we'll keep an eye on for the end of the week, because if that happens, that would increase those rain chances for Green Country. But right now, looking like the heaviest rain is going to be to our south and to our west. And this is going to be an impressive rainmaker. Western parts of Texas especially for this time of the year. Western parts of Texas could see 2 to 4 inches of rain. Western Oklahoma, close to the Texas state line, 1 to 2 inches. And then even working your way toward the west side of the Oklahoma City metro, 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain. But a closer look at green country, not much. Maybe our western fringe counties could see 1/10 of an inch. Unfortunately, just not a lot of rain in our forecast, but we will see that increase in cloud cover. Now, I do have low-end precipitation chances starting Wednesday, 10%, mainly for our western counties. I've bumped it up to 20% on Sunday just in case that northerly solution comes to fruition for that low pressure, but this is subject to change, fluid forecast, so stay tuned in case that does shift farther north. Now, cold right now, temperature sitting at 36 degrees, southeast wind at 6 miles per hour, so that's making it feel a touch colder out there. Pretty much area-wide temperatures right now, upper 20s, low to mid 30s. Coldest areas northeastern parts of our viewing area. Wind chills tomorrow morning are going to be quite chilly out there, so you want to make sure you have the jacket before you head to work, the jacket before those kiddos head to the bus stop as well. Again, lows are going to be in the upper 20s, lower 30s. Wind chills are going to be in the 20s, the low to mid 20s tomorrow. But by the afternoon, we're going to see those highs a little bit warmer by about 3 to 5, in some cases 8 degrees warmer than what we saw today. A little bit above normal, 60 south of I-40. Notice we hold on to the relatively mild conditions over the next few days, but we do see increased cloud cover by Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday. But right now, John, mainly looking like a dry forecast.
I am here for it, my friend. Here for the cooler temperatures, too.
Yeah, you know, cool in the morning and then a little bit warmer in the afternoon.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, coming up, find out who won the in-state duel between Tulsa and Oklahoma State. That's next.
Now, the News Channel 8 sports team, coming to you from the Gateway Sports Desk.
Well, this afternoon, Eric Conkle was looking for his 6th win of the season, something he never accomplished last year. But he was going to have to go through an Oklahoma State team that badly wanted and needed a win today. The two Oklahoma teams facing off at the Paycom Center. Conkle and co. trailing by 13 with just 3 to go in the second half. It's Tyshawn Archie. He drives and tosses it up to Carlos Williams, who slams at home. Williams had a season-high 11 points. On the other end, another Williams, Keon with the driving layup. OSU led the entire game, but 48 combined turnovers in this one. Another one right here. Carlos Williams will take this one all the way, but it's Oklahoma State who tops Tulsa 72 to 57. Now the TU women, well, they also featured in a marquee matchup today. Hear from their head coach following the big win next. Ranking towards the bottom of the conference in rebounding, Angie knew that they were going to have to do well on the boards for a chance to win over tall, lengthy, and athletic Florida. And by doing the former, they were able to accomplish the latter.
It's funny, you think back to the first few possessions, and those rebounds were not easy, and that really set the tone for the game. And it would have been an easy moment for us to maybe say, okay, well, they may be a little bigger in size, but that is not our team. Our team looks at that, sees it as a challenge, and they didn't just get them. They fiercely went after the rebounds.
Perriman certainly did. She had a career-high 14 in this one. So tough loss for the Tulsa men, but a big win for the Tulsa women. Their first win over an SEC opponent in 5 years, John.
That's pretty cool, Michelle.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, coming up in our next half hour, a sports team down the turnpike giving back for the holiday season. How the Oklahoma City Thunder is helping struggling families. And pumping the brakes on a secret mission. Why the U.S. military is putting its space plane launch on a temporary pause. That's coming up.
Oklahoma's trusted source of news, always connected with you, on air, online, and on your social media. We are News Channel 8.
Thanks for staying up late with us. Today, Oklahomans came together to celebrate Hanukkah at an annual community festival down the turnpike. As Katie Arata explains, organizers emphasized spreading light, positivity, and unity during a difficult time for the Jewish community.
In a time where things seem to be colder and darker, there's a lot of divisiveness, a lot of disunity, a lot of hate going around. We're going to try over the next few hours to bring warmth and love and light and uplift through the beautiful holiday of lights, the holiday of Hanukkah, and the message of Hanukkah.
Families gathered on a chilly afternoon at Scissortail Park, celebrating with activities for everyone, from a petting zoo to live music.
I look around, I see people from every type of background, from every type, I would imagine, religion, cultural background. I see smiles on most people's faces.
Oklahomans unifying to honor the Jewish culture and the menorah's message of faith and hope.
Oklahoma is one of the most beautiful places, a place where there's a lot of love, there's a lot of unity, there's a lot of godliness.
Rabbi Goldman says the Jewish community has felt immense support from Oklahomans after Jewish people were attacked in Israel in October.
Ever since October 7th, when the Jewish people were attacked in Israel, there's been so much love, so much unity expressed towards the Jewish community here. It's an amazing place, Oklahoma. It's full of light already, and we can't wait to continue to be part of increasing that light.
Goldman says the spread of light and positivity is vital during a time like this.
The light is always going to be the best, most effective way to respond to any type of negativity, any type of divisiveness when we're looking for unity.
That was Katie Arata reporting that Chabad Community Center says anyone that does not have a menorah at home and would like one can go to their website, jewishokc.com, and leave them a message, and they will help arrange one so that you can get a menorah right to your home. Back here locally, some hogs and toys. If you saw some motorcycles with toys attached today, don't worry, it was for a great cause. Today was the annual Marines Toy Run. This exciting event began at the Tulsa Fairgrounds and ended at the Riverwalk in Jenks. Abate Oklahoma, which is a motorcycle organization, partners with the Marines to ensure no child gets left behind this holiday season.
This is for kids north. Every toy that we collect, we're basically collecting back to this for the Marines. The Marines will get the toys at the destination off for the bikers. We'll all take our toys to them. That they take them in turn, they put them in advance and take them to the armory. They separate them out according to gender and age and so on.
This is the 44th year of the Marines Toy Run. Meanwhile, the Buy BA campaign will have its final day tomorrow. This campaign focuses on the importance of shopping locally and encourages the community to do so throughout the holiday season. And they are surprising 2 guests who are shopping with $100 to buy something from the store they are currently inside of.
From the Oklahoma Ford Storm Center, your first warning forecast, certified as Tulsa's most accurate weather.
Here's a look at your Monday forecast to get the work week off started. Cold tomorrow morning. We're going to be in the upper 20s and lower 30s, but we're going to see temperatures a little bit milder tomorrow afternoon compared to what we saw today. Mid to upper 50s here in Tulsa and around Tulsa, possibly 60 degrees south of I-40. Now, if you had to step outside one more time tonight, you got to take that dog on a walk, use the restroom. Cold, grab the jacket. We're already in the 30s right now, and those temperatures continue to fall over the next few hours. The winds are light, but they're at about 5 miles per hour, so that is adding just a little bit of chill to the air. So the wind chill will be a factor tonight and tomorrow morning, but again, by tomorrow afternoon and going forward this week, we're going to see temperatures a little bit milder than where we should be this time of the year. That normal high in the lower 50s, we should be in the mid to upper 50s pretty much the entire week. We are going to notice an increase in cloud cover Tuesday through the end of the week. Could we see some rain? If so, who has the best chance to see rain? I'll let you know coming up here in a couple of minutes.
Chris, thank you, my friend. The U.S. military is preparing to launch its top secret space plane on its 7th orbital mission. The unmanned drone was originally scheduled to take off aboard SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket tonight, but the launch was delayed to tomorrow due to the weather. Since its debut more than a decade ago, the spacecraft has been a source of intrigue within the space community, mainly due to its classified operations. According to the U.S. Space Force, this upcoming mission will equip the U.S. with, quote, the knowledge to enhance current and future space operations. Well, it's a tradition the Oklahoma City Thunder have honored for quite a while, and they're keeping the goodwill going. We'll take you to the Thunder shopping spree after the break. Okay, check this out. The Oklahoma City players surprised 17 local families with a shopping spree at Target today as part of the Thunder's 16th season of Holiday Assist. Each lucky family was paired with a player from the team who helped them shop for holiday gifts and their home needs.
It was fun. Me and my boy Elijah, we had a lot of fun running around the store and just grabbing gifts that he's been wanting for a while now. He actually knew, he had a whole list. He knew what he wanted, he knew where it was, so I was just letting him drive and I was following. We had one rule: if he crashed, he had to put something back. So he had a lot of fun with that. I did as well.
That's pretty cool. Each of the 17 families chosen are part of the Sunbeam Family Services Grandparents Raising Grandchildren program. Thunder Ford Kenrich Williams says he values these moments more since starting his own family.
It's just a blessing to be able to help out, especially during this time of the year. Knowing it's Christmas time and holidays, feels really good. I always say that this is way better than scoring points, winning games, having major stats and stuff. This is a great feeling.
After the surprise Target shopping spree, the Thunder got a chance to set their sights on their next opponent. Michelle will have that matchup later in sports. A waste of extra funding or a critical resource to keep cities safe? Full Measure has a closer look at police funding disputes coming up.
Plus, it's cold out there right now. 28 McAllister, 28 in Wilburton, 36 here in the metro. How low will these temperatures go? I'll let you know coming up.
In tonight's Full Measure, crime is a constant in cities across the country, and some are calling on more money for law enforcement to bolster resources. Scott Thuman has more on one battle over funding in Atlanta.
Yeah. Does it look damaged? Or
yeah.
It is damaged?
It looked like somebody broke into the house.
Okay.
Policing in Atlanta, Georgia has never been busier and in some ways never more challenged.
Atlanta police, make yourself known if you're inside.
Just look at the numbers. 170 murders last year, the city's highest total since 1996. So far this year, the statistics are better, but the city remains desperate for more cops.
How many officers are you down right now?
Right now we're down about 400 officers.
Darren Shirebaum is chief of the Atlanta Police Department.
We're authorized about 2,035 is what we're authorized at, and we need 400 to get back to that point. We're still the largest law enforcement agency in the state, but we want to be back to that full authorized strength because guess what? In 2026, we're hosting the World Cup.
But attracting new officers has never been harder. When it comes to training, this is what for years Atlanta recruits had to work with. An old school building turned police academy with peeling paint. So city and law enforcement leaders came up with a $90 million plan to turn training around, and they're turning soil to do it at a site just outside Atlanta. Former Secret Service agent Dave Wilkinson leads Atlanta's Police Federation.
If you really want to put people out on the street, that is police officers or firefighters or paramedics, and you want them to be in life-saving roles, you have to make sure they are properly trained.
But what he sees as a state-of-the-art opportunity, others see as a threat. Protesters dubbed the training center Cop City, depicting it as little more than an excuse to further militarize policing in their city. During a series of protests this year, demonstrators broke into the site, destroying construction equipment, setting vehicles on fire, and shooting commercial-grade fireworks at officers. Kamal Franklin is a community activist and one of the leading voices against the project.
What are your biggest problems with what you've called Cop City?
Some of the things that have been planned for this site include urban warfare training, paramilitary grade facilities, mock cities for crowd control.
Not unusual.
Wilkinson thinks the majority of people are now firmly behind the police again.
When crime rates started to go up, the residents of any city come together and say, we have got to support the police. So I would argue, or I would say, that right now we see a higher level of support for police than I've seen in all my years of doing this.
Atlanta's police training center is due to open next year, but the protests are still happening. In other cities and states, new police training facilities have opened or are being built because amid rising crime, police departments are struggling to recruit and keep enough officers. For Full Measure, I'm Scott Thuman.
From the Oklahoma Ford Storm Center, your first warning forecast, certified as Tulsa's most accurate weather.
We're setting the stage for a very chilly Monday morning. So let's take a look at that. Clear skies, we have that in play. We also have the light winds at 6 miles per hour and the low dew points as well. So these three factors right here are going to allow for a really chilly start to our Monday morning. Now, it's not going to be as cold as what we saw this morning. And the reason why is because the wind, although light, is from the south and the east. But it is going to be very chilly out there tomorrow morning. And many folks right now have temperatures already at that freezing mark or a touch below. Some areas actually in the 20s. So 28 in McAllister, 28 in Wilburton, 28 in Grove. You can see many areas really chilly. 27 for my friends in Bristow. Now, we don't only have the cold temperatures to deal with, but those light southerly winds out there, that's going to shave a couple degrees off of the feels-like temperature. So by tomorrow morning, it's actually going to feel like the low to mid 20s. You want the jacket before you head to work. Make sure the kiddos have the jacket as well before they head to the bus stop tomorrow morning. Temperatures area-wide pretty much at that freezing mark or below it. But the good news is by tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be warmer than what we saw today by about 5 to 8 degrees. Many areas climbing into the mid to upper 50s. Can't rule out a 60-degree reading to the south of I-40. That normal high is in the low 50s, so it will be mild out there by tomorrow afternoon. All quiet in the weather department, but we are keeping an eye on the system working its way toward the Pacific Northwest. This area of low pressures over the northeastern Pacific, and this is going to dive toward the south and east over the next 48 hours, and it's going to eventually position itself over the Four Corners state, starting to intensify as it does, and that's going to start to increase the moisture across parts of the southern plains. Now, we're going to stay on the dry side of it initially, looking like we're going to see that increase in cloud cover late Tuesday into Wednesday. But notice that precipitation mainly along into the west of I-35, especially in the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles. And this area of low pressure just kind of parks itself over the Four Corners state, and it's just enough west of us to just kind of keep us on that dry but cloudy side for your Thursday. But notice that precipitation, that rain for parts of western Texas, even some valley rain, mountain snow for New Mexico. But you can see western parts of Oklahoma. We'll see that rain Tuesday night, Wednesday, Thursday. And then moving into Friday, that system jets off toward the south and east over the Lone Star State. Notice how that precipitation shield goes from western parts of the state down into central Texas. So it looks like the majority of the precipitation at that point will be to the south of the Red River. Now, I do want to point out some guidance has suggested this could track a little bit farther north. If that happens, that would increase the rain chances south of I-40 Friday night into Saturday. That is a low wind chance right now, but it can't be ruled out. So we'll continue to fine tune this forecast. Heaviest rain in western Texas. Look at that. We're talking a widespread 2 to 4 inches over the next several days. Even western Oklahoma, 1 to 2 inches, and even budding up toward western parts of the Oklahoma City metro, 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain. Here in Green Country, though, you can see bullseye of really nothing. Western counties could pick up 1/10 of an inch, but just not a lot in the forecast, especially here in Tulsa. 10% chance of rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We mainly stay dry, but I have bumped up Saturday to a 20% chance just in case that low does track a little bit farther north, John, but not looking like that's going to be a strong likelihood. We're going to see temperatures over the next few days a little bit above normal with highs in the mid to upper 50s.
What I love about this kind of weather, it's not too cold to get out and still do the basic activity.
Exactly. This time of the year, it can be really cold, so we will take temperatures just a little bit above normal.
We will take it. Thanks, Chris. Well, the Oklahoma State and Dallas Cowboys are both getting wins tonight. We tell you how next.
Now, the News Channel 8 sports team. Coming to you from the Gateway Sports Desk.
Well, as the announcer said of the end of this game, it certainly isn't one we're hanging in the loop, but Oklahoma State managed to get their 4th win of the season in a sloppy and defensive battle with in-state foe Tulsa. The two teams combined for 48 turnovers, hence the description sloppy. OSU jumped out to an early lead, which was what ultimately sealed their victory in the end. They opened the game building an 11-3 lead, then extended their advantage to 21-5. While Tulsa did improve defensively, they were never able to cut the lead to less than 9. OSU also won the battle on the boards, out-rebounding Tulsa 41-23, and then eventually, in the category that means the most, they outscored TU to win it 7 72-57. Now on to the TU women. Well, they were taking on Florida. Delaney Crawford and Tamira Poindexter combined for 43 of Tulsa's 72 points to lead the Golden Hurricane to their first win over an SEC opponent in 5 years. Once again, it took a fourth quarter comeback to get the win, and it took an area in which the Golden Hurricane aren't particularly good rebounding to overcome the hurdle Florida presented. Afterwards, head coach Angie Nelp explained that it was that and the intangibles.
And they're celebrating.
That shows the mentality and the mindset that you have to have, and that's part of that grit and toughness that our team has. I mean, you look at how many times we're diving on the floor, right? You look at how many times we're ripping the ball away from the opponents, or we're blocking a shot, or we're hitting on rebounds. And if you watch the game, it's all those intangibles of the fierce and the toughness that it took to get them.
Yeah, Tulsa is now 7-3 on the season, undefeated at home. And rounding out our basketball lineup, a look ahead at who will be playing at the Paycom Center tomorrow night. The Thunder will host the Utah Jazz. OKC currently sits in second place in the packed Western Conference, just 3 games back of Minnesota. The Jazz, meanwhile, are in 12th. Now on to the NFL. So the Chiefs lost their second straight, the first time they've had consecutive losses since September of 21. And in the Sunday night spotlight, it was the NFC East, the Cowboys hosting the Eagles, and former Sooner teammates playing against one another. The Cowboys on Sunday night primetime, that sounds familiar. 3rd and 2 from the 13, Dak scrambling, then rolling to his left. He throws on the run and, of course, takes his favorite target, former Sooner CeeDee Lamb, who gets the first score of the game. Lamb averaged over 11 yards per reception tonight. Now for the other former Sooner. It was a tough day at the office for Jalen Hurts, a sack fumble on this play. The Cowboys go on to hand Philly their 3rd loss of the season, 33-13. Now another game taking place this afternoon. The Colts at the Bengals. Chase Brown getting the party started. A 54-yarder to the house and takes it all the way in. Now it's time for the short yardage back. Former Sooner Joe Mixon takes it in from 1 yard out to put the Bengals up 14-zip. And Cincy wins their second straight with 34. This one, 34-14. So a really good day for the Sooners in the NFL. Obviously mentioned a number of them there, and so many more making a big impact all across the league.
I'm a little depressed about the Chiefs though.
I know. So is Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if you guys saw his outburst.
We them boys.
Patrick Mahomes not happy today with a couple calls. We them boys, you them boys, and so is our producer Chris. I had to throw the Cowboys in today because I know he loves them.
10-3, baby.
Him and the rest of America, right? America's team.
So we have 4 more wins on the schedule before postseason, right?
They currently lead the division.
I think so.
They currently lead the NFC East with their win over Philly today. So
we'll take it. I wonder how the Swifties are feeling about the Chiefs loss.
She's not a good luck charm, apparently.
Oh.
She was there today.
Could this be the end of it?
I think this might be the end. No. Thanks for joining us. Good night.